We're back, Snappy Tomato Pizza, and Chris Brinkley and Kevin McMillan hanging out here. This is cracking me up. What we're doing is also seen on the YouTube channel at utmsports.com, and our producer told us to sit up straighter, and it was really odd. I don't want to sit up straight, Coach. This is a radio show first, right?
Posture.
Yeah. Indiana State, the opponent for the women's team on Wednesday, and then Sunday the Skyhawks go to Memphis. Coach, I want to look at some statistics, though, first, and I just like looking at stuff. It surprises me that Jasmine Newsom has twice as many assists as Heather Butler does, because from a scoring standpoint, they're neck and neck, and I wouldn't have guessed that without looking at the stat sheet. Well,
Jasmine is our, quote, point guard. We put the ball in her hands to make decisions, and then Butler we put in a scoring position. So she's not going to be – she should have about half as many assists as Jasmine does.
Which is where it is.
Because of the amount of time they have the ball in their hands. But you also should see probably more turnovers from Newsom than you do Butler.
And you do.
Because she's got the ball in her hands more often. It should not be probably 2-to-1, and that's about what it is now. So that probably would need to come down a little bit. But
I remember asking you last year when the two came in, who's the point guard and who's the two, and you said they're interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
So have things changed a little bit this season as compared to a year ago?
No, not really. Jasmine's just kind of taken that role over last year about Christmas, and what I'm hoping that we can do some, though, is put her on the bench and let her rest and let Butler take some of that off her shoulders. Just the season's so long, you want to get as many minutes out of them as you can.
Have the two ever just played one-on-one to like 21 or something?
We make them play all the time.
You do?
And, we make them compete, and they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
And that's all you'll say?
Yeah, I'll let them tell you about how it goes.
Okay. I got to ask you some questions off the air. It also surprised me that your leading rebounder is Jasmine. Now, she's getting more minutes than some of the other players, but that's impressive from her position.
Yeah, and look at your second leading rebounder.
Heather
Butler.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you could call that minutes, but their minutes aren't that much different, and especially from their position. Jaclissa's rebound is down a little bit right now. That'll pick up, and I think some of these other post players' rebounds will pick up more as the season wears on.
Jaclissa also surprised me in that she's shooting almost 47% from the field and 46% from three-point range. And she's 10 of 22, but very efficient as a scorer.
Well, that tells you she needs to shoot more. I mean, really, honestly, she needs to be looking to score, and I think she will. Again, it's very early in the season, but she has played a bigger role for us than she did last year, just being a three-point shooter and a rebounder. So, I mean, I'm glad that so far in what she's done.
Another surprise when I'm looking at your scoring by the first half and the second half, you scored 150 points in the first half, 198 in the second. The opponents have scored 131 compared to 166 in the second half. Why is there more scoring going on in the second half as opposed to the first half?
I think teams figure out what the others are doing, and they just have, they figure out what they have to do to score. And I think that with the way we play, that's very obvious that we play some matchup zone and some 2-3 and some man, and we don't really try to disguise a lot. And so once you get comfortable with this, you start scoring more. And I think a lot of times that's what you see in a lot of games. At first half, you don't see a lot of scoring.
And so that would be across the board, men's basketball, probably NBA, everything, even probably in middle school or junior high.
Yep.
Any other stats, and you've not looked at the cums that stand out? Jaclissa averaging 9.2 a game. Taylor Hall's in there at 7 points a game. And then a lot of other players averaging between 2 and 4 points a game.
Yeah, we just need more production, period, from everybody, and I think Jasmine and Heather are no question going to carry us, but we need more production out of a lot of folks if we're going to be able to be the kind of team that we all want to be. If we're just going to, be good, then that'll be acceptable. But we're trying to be the best we can be.
How are we different now compared to when we played Duke in March?
We're older. We're a little more. We kind of know what we're doing a little better than we did, and we're a little better prepared for ball games. I mean, the biggest thing is we're just older. They've been through it before, and they kind of know what to expect.
And they're mostly sophomores.
We're still extremely young, but if those kids have played a full season, so I mean they're people think of at the end of your freshman year, they call you sophomores. I don't know what that means you are when you're a sophomore, but they're older than most because they played so many minutes.
Yeah, it should really not be the year you are, but the number of games you
Probably
play.
should be.
Yeah, and most of these players played almost every game. Talk about, first of all, I want to mention the Vanderbilt night, which is coming up a week from Wednesday, and some of the special events that will go on that night.
We have a huge night, and we're meeting this week a lot, trying to get prepared for it, and we're having a fundraiser that can I talk about that?
Yeah,
Chris?
yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We're having a fundraiser for the program at 5:30. There's going to be a meal and a silent auction. It's $100 a plate or $800 a table, and we're trying to push UTM women's basketball and get some support and some let some people kind of see us and get to know us that wouldn't usually or hasn't before or has thought about it. And the ticket's going to get you a meal. It's going to get you an evening with Chris Brinkley as the MC. And Kevin McMillan's going to speak for a couple of minutes before the game about the game. And we're going to have the UT president here, and a lot of influential UTM folks will be there. And the ticket will get you in the ball game. It'll get you at the Skyhawk Club hospitality room at halftime. Get you a little tour through the arena. And it's going to be a big night for us. We're going to try to make this an annual event that we do at our, quote, big game every year. I think next year we're looking at Louisville or Purdue for this. And but you need to call 587-5145, ask for Leanne, and she can get you set up if you want to come. That we do have limited seating, and we're going to find out in the morning how we're filling up. So if we'd love to have everybody, because Vanderbilt's going to be probably top 25 because they beat Oklahoma last week. And it's going to be a good chance for us to showcase the UTM women's basketball and UT Martin in general, because that's Vandy doesn't come to town every day.
That's my next question. So many people have asked me about that game and how in the world you got Vanderbilt to come to the Elam Center.
Well, I think a lot of it. I want to pat ourselves on the back and say that Brian Haskins does the scheduling, that he did a phenomenal job getting them here, and he did. Another thing is it's the economy. It's kind of weird. The economy is that Vanderbilt looks at it and says, okay, we can pay teams $10,000 or $15,000 to come to our place, or we can get on a bus and drive to Martin and play for $3,000, and it's a pretty big difference. You do that 5 or 6 times, you're talking about $50,000 or $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what a lot of teams in the country are starting to do, is they're starting to play more home and homes with people. And I think that's why we've got Louisville coming next year and Purdue, and we've got Mississippi State the year after that, and so I think that's one of the big things you're seeing with the bigger schools.
Well, on behalf of women's basketball fans, thank you for bringing that quality of opponent.
It's different, and that's, we figure that folks around here, there's such good high school games, and there's so many allegiances that we figure people wouldn't mind coming to watch Vanderbilt and UT Martin play, and they'd jump on our bandwagon and root for us and see if we couldn't pull off an upset.
Okay, go to utmsports.com for more information. Coach, final question. Indiana State coming up Wednesday night. You're on the road. And then Sunday at Memphis. 2 really good basketball teams on the road. What does your team need to do?
Well, Indiana State, we played twice last year, and they
are they still big?
Yes, they've got everybody back. And they had one girl get 28 points and 23 rebounds against us at our place. And Heather Butler hit a shot at the buzzer to win. And they're going to be a really tough challenge at their place, because it's like going to Purdue. Indiana State, there's going to be a great crowd up there, and they do well at home. So that'll be a huge challenge. And then we come home and we go to Memphis, who's only got 1 loss, and they're thinking they could get votes top 25 in the country if they win a couple more ball games. So that's a huge week for us before Vanderbilt even gets here. So I hope we can sneak out some wins and have next Wednesday the home game be a big one.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you,
Coach.